Welcome to Muscles and Malarkey, the podcast about all things strength, fitness, and fun. I'm your host, Mary. In today's episode, I'm joined by my good friend Kim, powerlifter, coach, referee, and all-around badass. We dive into the power of discovering strength training and how it can be life-changing, especially for women and young lifters. Kim shares what it's like coaching kids and women in powerlifting, the joy of lifting alongside her own child, and why creating a safe, supportive environment is non-negotiable in and out of the gym. We also talk about her experience as a powerlifting referee, what makes a great training partner or coach, and yes, we couldn't resist diving into some gym etiquette reminders too. Whether you're new to the barbell or deep in the game, this conversation is full of wisdom, heart, and a few laughs along the way. Editor note, this podcast episode was recorded back in November of 2024, so any commentary is not based on recent events. I'm going to welcome to Muscles and Malarkey the wonderful Kim Mossberg. So hi, Kim.
Hi.
Thank you so much off the bat. I just want to say thank you for meeting with me and being willing to put yourself on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, of course. I love listening to your podcast. I'm glad to be here.
We're going to have fun. Kim, do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
So I am from southeastern Virginia. I got married when I was 26, and my first husband passed away when I was 33. I found powerlifting about 2 years after he passed away, and that really gave me my life back. I was just kind of going through the motions for those 2 years in between, just trying to, make it. I had a 3-year-old and trying to do the best I could. I found powerlifting, and something that had been dormant woke up, and I started coming back to myself. So I've been powerlifting since 2018. I've had 3 wonderful coaches. I can't speak highly enough about all of them. And I've been working with Liz now for almost 3 years. Has it been almost 3 years?
Time flies when you're having fun,
Who are
right?
you telling? I'm a ref now for PLU. I ref for USPA. I was a national ref when I left USPA, but I'm coaching a small handful of women because powerlifting isn't my, full-time gig.
I've seen your stories, like the reposts of these phenomenal girls going out there, putting themselves out there and doing barbell movements or like modifications if they're not quite at a barbell movement yet. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
I worked with kids as young as 10, not counting my personal child because I coach him too. Coach is a strong word. When he is feeling like he wants to lift, there's no pressure for Joey. If he wants to get in the garage and lift with me like he did today, I was benching, and so he wanted to bench too. So, he benched.
Well, he's the best supervisor, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's a good spotter for me. He does a good job. Outside of him, I've worked with children, girls as young as 10. And then my oldest client is, Melissa's going to kill me because it's either 62 or 63 and I can't remember, but
Melissa Moreau. Oh my gosh, she's wonderful.
She is wonderful. She's fantastic. I am so proud of her. She's doing just amazing.
But I want to circle back to you coaching these girls and also being a referee. What made you want to pursue becoming a referee?
My first coach, Rich Lachlan, I worked with him for 2 years. And I talked to him and I said, do you think I have the eyes to be a ref? Right? Because you know the rules when you're a competitor, but to be able to spot on other people if they're maintaining those standards is something else. And he said, yeah, I think you do. He said, you have a way of explaining things to people where they don't feel stupid. And so, I talked with the USPA East guy and, asked him about sitting for a practical, like taking the exam. And he was like, yeah. And so I took I took the written exam in January of 2020. I was set to do my practical at the end of March of 2020.
Oh,
I took my practical in September of 2020. Gary and Trisha and George, it was a very much a collective effort. And I sat with, I think, 4 different refs during that time. And like during your practical, right, you're making calls and discussing the call with the ref that you're sitting with. So I didn't have one person that I was talking my calls with. I had 4 different ones, different points. So I learned a lot. That was September. And then the very first meet that I refed at for real was at the cave. It was No Luck.
like the original No Luck.
2020 No Luck before. Yep, the original No Luck was my first. I refed a lot in 2021 because the world was still like not awake in
Mm-hmm.
2021, right? Like George and Travis were who I worked for, and their meets were safe as much as a powerlifting meet can be safe, but they were serious about keeping people as safe as possible. So I felt comfortable going to work for them. And I learned a lot from both of them. And so, then I promoted up to a national level ref, and then everything happened with the USPA, and like the folks that I was working for were leaving for WRPF. And so I was
Oh.
like, okie dokie.
Those 13 that you did in 2021 were all Travis and George, I think you said?
I'm pretty sure I can tell you actually. So I had all of them were Travis and George except for 2.
Oh my.
And one was with Gary and Trisha Emmerich, and then one was with another meet director. Everything else as a level 2 national ref was with George, was with Travis, or was built strong with Liz and JP out in Kansas City. So
Wow.
I only work for people that I trust is what it boils down to. So now most of the meets that I work are at Chaos Lab in Richmond because I have a good relationship with Sean, and he actually co-directed my meet in September. I work a lot of meets with him. I do go up to the cave and work meets there, and then I go down to South Carolina and do Built Strong and Goddesses.
Those are A plus, man. I've never been to Built Strong, but I did Liz's First Goddesses. That meet was phenomenal. Even though I didn't come in at 100%, it was such a wonderful time. So to circle back, you made the comment about doing meets with people that you trust and that you know are going to do good meets. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. I think hearing that Travis and co put on 13 meets in a year, I'm just like, that's a lot of meets to put on in a year. That's insane. As a lifter, I know if I go and I do a cave meet, it's going to be a really well-run meet. And I am totally fine with driving, however many hours it takes for me to drive to Salisbury, Maryland, because it is worth it to go and compete at a good, safe meet.
For sure. As a female ref, I want to know that I am safe,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I have 0 doubts in my head that the people that I work for consistently or worked for, if I were to have gone to them and been like, look, there is a male spectator, a female spectator, a male athlete, a female athlete, a coach, or whatever who is harassing me, that person would have been removed
Mm-hmm.
without question. And I have a good relationship with all of the meet directors that I work for, but I feel like that would be true for any of their reffing staff. And that's important. Some people may disagree.
I would 1,000% agree. To be a woman in strength sports, to be being a female athlete in a male dominated sport in a lot of ways.
Well, I mean, like my child, right, who is just now 12, like he turned 12 this week. So he's not even old enough to technically be competing, but he has competed now 3 different times. All of the meets that he has competed at have been at meets there with people and at gyms with folks that I trust, period, full stop. Because the first meet that he did was 2021. December. So if he's 12, and that was 3 years ago, he was 9.
Oh.
And it was, deadlift only, but whatever. He was still there and he was back in the back, like warming up with these, some of the dudes were really big dudes.
And he's just like a little 9-year-old.
And getting back to the question, right? I got involved because I wanted to give back, because you can't have meets if you don't have people who are willing to volunteer. And I say volunteer with quotes, which no one can see, but volunteer, because you do get paid to work at meets. Typically, the meets that I have worked, refs tend to get paid $100. So we're not getting paid hand over fist. My $100 typically covers my gas, right?
Right.
The money's covering the travel, which is, I'm not doing it to get paid, right? Like, I'm doing it to give back to the sport.
Let's say I'm a person who really wants to become a referee. What's my step 1 to be able to do that?
Well, in order to become a referee, most feds, I believe it is 2 meets, sometimes it's 3, that you've competed in. You have to have competed that many times to be able to sit for the written test. They also will require a background check. And so after you take the test, which is an open book test, there are true false questions, which, if you are like me, are the worst type of question possible, because I can argue for you both ways some of these questions. Well, it could be true, but then also in these extenuating circumstances, this question would be false. And in fact, when I passed mine, I had missed, out of 100 questions, I want to say I missed 5. And then I got 3 of them reversed because I was able to argue when we discussed the test.
If I need a lawyer, I'm calling Kim. I know you're not a lawyer, but I'm calling you.
Well, I successfully managed to argue insurance to pay for my skin removal surgery this year. So I feel like if I'm able to do that.
From a healthcare worker, respect.
It was not an easy task, I promise. But anyway, so you sit and you do that test. You talk about the results. You get your background check. They make sure that there's nothing like hinky on your background check. You do the safe sport testing, and then you go and you sit for a practical. And you have to sit at a practical where there are at least 180 lifts for you to judge. And you sit with somebody who is a level 2 or a national or whatever they're calling the advanced level referees. Now, I actually gave a practical at Built Strong a couple weeks ago.
Who was it that you gave the practical to?
Cole. It was a really entertaining day for me.
Oh my gosh. You have me intrigued. What made it so entertaining?
I've given lots of practicals at this point, and a lot of times the refs are nervous. Like the refs to be are nervous, and they're like, I think this maybe because, I think I saw. And so there's lots of I thinks and maybes, and I'm like, no, be confident. If you saw that depth wasn't there and that's what you think, then you say, I don't think depth was not there. And then if you're wrong, I'm going to tell you, okay, like, I see what you're saying. However, this is a larger thighed person. So their hip crease is at a different spot, and you're going to be looking for a different place on their body with their anatomy than you are. Everybody is different. And so, like, nuancing that.
Right. Not every athlete that's going on the platform is a used to be D2 football player, that's going out and they transition to powerlifting. Like, as you said, there are different bodies, and you have to know how to work with those different bodies.
Well, and like one thing Cole and I were talking about, because we were on the side for like the big dudes, right? For squats. Some of them, their hamstring and their calf were touching. They can't go any further down. That's as far down as they can go.
As ass to grass as a super heavyweight can get, okay?
Right? What do you want?
Maybe if they just rolled out their calves a little bit and maybe did some stretching, maybe they could get down into the hole. They could just beat their anatomy,
Right.
This
Exactly.
is me being sarcastic.
Well, and then also too, you'll see me on the ground on sides for squats. I don't stay down there because the rules say I'm not allowed to stay out of my chair the whole flight anymore. So I'll be up in my chair, then I'll be back on the ground. But I am literally crawling around on the ground, sometimes laying down, because you're trying to get your view between the 2 spotters who are spotting on the side. to get to see the leg.
I feel so bad for anyone who's listening because they lose the joy of being able to see you demonstrating this.
Cole and I had that conversation. Like once we got to the side, he was like ready to get to the side. He already knew we're getting down. We're not staying here. And because he was at a meet that had more than the requisite number of lifters, he was able to actually hop up and side spot for some of the bigger dudes.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. Fun learning fact for the people out there is once you get over 500 pounds, I believe, that's when it's required to have 5 spotters during a powerlifting meet.
This girl, when I'm squatting over like 440, I would prefer to have 5 spotters on me.
Makes sense.
Like, I wouldn't be mad if there were 5 people up there.
It gives you peace of mind, and when you have peace of mind, you're going to execute your lift better.
Absolutely. 100%.
I wish that more people took spotting seriously. I was at the gym, this was a couple months ago, and these 2 youngins, they're still in their teens, and the one kid failed it. He was stuck at the bottom, and the other kid was spotting him, in quotes, and tried to upright row 245 pounds. You're not going to be able to do that. So what did the kid underneath the barbell do but dump it? I'm like, my guy, you could have hurt yourself. You could have hurt the spotter. It was not a safe situation. And I saw it happening, and I was talking with the gym owner, and he told me my eyes just went, huh? And I'm like, just started running over there because I'm like, this poor kid. And I said to them, I'm like, you need to learn how to spot correctly. I'm like, let me show you and teach you. And I started telling them, and they're like, yeah, that's fine. Oh, I had it. You don't hurt yourself, don't hurt others.
The end. Like that's it. Like, don't hurt yourself and don't hurt others. It's funny. I've had guys back spot me for squats before. I've never failed a squat on strength. I've cut it high if I was questioning, but I've never not stood up with a squat. I've always, whatever I have on my back, I stand up with it.
Heck yeah.
Knock on wood.
Well, strongish right there.
But I've had guys ask me, like, what do you want me to do if you aren't going to make it? I'm like, grab whatever you need to grab and help me stand up. I'm not going to jump the bar. So, like, get up under my arms and grab me. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I do not care. Help me stand up.
I said this. I'm resonating so hard with this because I have now learned if I'm going to ask somebody who does not know me and isn't a normal lifting partner to spot me, I will tell them, I don't expect to fail this, but if I do, this is what I want you to do. Because I didn't do that when I first started, and I asked somebody to spot me, and it was one of those situations where they had no idea what to do, and so I just had to like squat down and roll it on the bars, whatever, and the safety bars, and afterwards I'm like, what the heck was that? And he said, well, I was afraid of like touching your chest or something. And I looked at him and I said, if I have 300 pounds on my back, I do not care if you accidentally graze my titty. You need to help me stand up with this safely.
Right. And that's it. That's what I'm looking for here.
We know if I'm failing a squat and you come up underneath my shoulders and help me stand up with it, thank you. I appreciate it. Trust me, believe me, I am not going to remember what you grazed on your way underneath my armpits. All right.
Right. Like, I'm just going to remember that you helped me stand up.
I could go on about gym safety. I have a lot of feelings about gym safety and gym etiquette too. That's a big thing for me.
And I'm not even talking about like jumping in front of somebody's camera on their tripod because, like, really, whatever. It's an open gym. If you walk in front of my camera, okay. But maybe if you're squatting next to me and I'm already walking out a maximal effort squat, just hold the phone 1 second before you go, or like,
oh,
don't go stop right in front of my rack. Mm-hmm.
There's some people, they're just blissfully unaware.
Mm-hmm. And like eye contact and stuff too. And I'm like, dude, I have 400 pounds on my back right now. Okay, just
hold please.
Hold one moment, please.
I was on vacation last year and I was actually, hold on a second. This was when I was doing a squat. Now this is all coming back to me. I had unracked, I had 245 and I took a step out. And this woman just snuck in underneath and just like looked up at the camera and grabbed a weight. If I squatted down, I would have hit you with these barbells. How stupid can you be? And she's like, oh, sorry. And it's like, you couldn't have waited 20 seconds to do 2 reps with this weight?
Like, people are people. And the other day we had somebody at my gym who literally, I thought he was doing like an influencer video. It was 6 o'clock in the morning because that's when I'm
Oh,
squatting right now. And he is back in the back on a FaceTime call the whole time I'm doing accessories. It was 35 minutes.
oh my Lanta. No. This leads me in. Actually, please finish your thought
I
because
was
I
like,
have a question for
well,
you.
I don't wear my headphones at the gym. I prefer to just to not. I don't like these on my ears when I lift. I like them for cardio. I don't like them for lifting. People have asked like about music. I don't care what music's playing. I have preferences, like if I'm in charge of what I'm going to listen to, but I don't care. But this guy talking the whole time, I could not. I asked at the front when I was leaving, I was like, is there a policy about like where you're supposed to be if you're taking a phone call? And I'm not talking like a 30-second phone call because like I call my kid and I'm like, hey Joey, you all right? Everything okay? You alive? You getting ready for school? Cool. I'll be home soon. Click.
I have two questions I want to ask you before we end our
Okay.
lovely time together. The first one being, what is your gym ick?
Oh. It depends on the gym. I, I don't love people carrying on their conversations for extensive amounts of time. It's one thing if you're in there by yourself, like literally by yourself, because the gym I was part of before this gym, it would be me and Joey in there by ourselves.
Oh, that had to be so nice.
It was great, except for when I needed a spot for something that sucked. But it was great because like he could be in school because he's his virtual school and we weren't disturbing anybody, or
Oh,
I could be on a meeting for work or whatever. It didn't matter, you know, or like pause my workout for a meeting for work. Like I don't work out while I'm listening to meetings for work. Let's like just clarify in case anybody
yes.
from work is listening
No,
to
you are
this.
you are a responsible employee.
I'll take my meeting for work and then I'll lift. I don't do the like this gym now doesn't have that capability. There's always people there. But I was squatting 2 weeks ago. It was week 6 of my block. I had a RPE 9. It's okay. Let's see what we've got. And so things are moving well. And like I squatted, I don't know, it might have been 395. Like I see 4 men staring at me.
They're like, whoa, like that's a lot of weight, man. Do you see that lady over there squatting, man? You should probably
Right.
check that out.
So then I squatted that and then I put, I don't know, 405 on the bar, which was like my goal for the day. I might put 410. I don't know. Maybe 415, somewhere in that range. And it was great. It wasn't a 9. And so one of the guys who had been staring, like they were all staring again. And one of them came over to me and fist bumped me. And he was like, man, you could have done that for at least 2 more. I was like, I know, I'm looking for an RPE 9 and that wasn't it. So I guess we're going up. But I appreciated that so much. Like if you're going to look at me, come over and speak to me. If I put myself into a spotlight, it's great. But please don't look at me otherwise. I want you to not see me. So when I'm at the gym in 6 o'clock in the morning and I look like it's 6 o'clock in the morning and I am going for a max effort squat and you're staring at me, it makes me feel really uncomfortable.
That's your gym ick.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh, totally understandable. And there are times where like you feel like you're being looked at and like no one's looking at you, but then there's times where they are blatantly staring at you and you can't convince you. There's no convincing of like, oh, well, maybe. No, they're looking at you, but you're also squatting 400 plus pounds comfortably. I love how casual you are about that right now. You're just like, yeah, like, just 395 on there, 410, 420. Don't you hold a squat record?
I hold national records. I was the drug tested masters world record holder for a little bit, but that got swiped. I don't know, maybe 3 months after I did it, which is fun. That's the whole purpose of records, right? So my best squat on the platform or ever is 457, but that was like peak. We could be still reaching for 460, 470. Walking them out though, I have trouble with a walkout. I do much better in a mono, but
I can't blame you on that one either, because that makes, yeah, imagining walking out 470 pounds or 480 pounds on your back, that's pretty wild.
yeah, the pick is better in a combo, but the walkout is no
Dang,
good.
Kim. I don't know if anyone's told you this before, but you're like pretty freaking strong.
Thanks. Yeah, I've heard
You
that once or twice.
once or twice, I hope so, because dang, you gotta recognize that is Chef's kiss, phenomenal. Because you've had, okay, no. I can't go down this rabbit hole. I will continue to talk about this. I'm going to focus. Here is my final question to you. Is there any like moment or thing where you're like, oh my God, that was so silly for me to have done?
I go back and I look at my deadlift. My deadlift's come a long way. And when I was first starting powerlifting, had come from like a CrossFit-y sort of background. And so we would deadlift and we would drop that weight from the top, just right on down to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
There's a difference doing that in bumper plates and doing that in not bumper plates.
Oh,
And
no.
oh, yes. So, yeah, did that once, didn't do it again. What else? I used to be a very close grip bencher. And with as broad as my shoulders are, I don't know why I ever thought that was a like good decision because we were going right here, man, like straight down like this.
Oh, girl, same.
Yeah, there was no back. It was all just like might off the chest. What else? I mean, like I did injure my back pretty badly deadlifting, not throwing the weights down onto the floor, just deadlifting. Maybe 8 weeks out from my third meet, which is the one where I decided I wanted to rest. But I had to pull sumo for 6 weeks because I could not load conventional on my back at all. And I look back at those sumo pulls and I'm like, what the heck was that even?
That's what I think about my old sumos too. You're in great company right now. Trust me.
I mean, I look at my sumos from when Liz and I started too, and I'm like, what was I doing here? I didn't know what I was doing. None of this is sumo because people would tell me to spread the floor. What the heck is that even? That cues does not work for me.
No, I'm with you.
I also got pinned under 205.
How did that, wait, like bench, squat?
A bench. I've never gotten pinned in a squat. Remember, I stood up with everything.
Right.
I bench, I pinned myself. 205, I like have done a bajillion times, and I was in my garage benching and I got stuck and I'm like, help. And Joey's like, help? And I'm like, no, actually help. Because I had, at that point, I still was collaring the weights when I was benching.
Right.
So I couldn't dump it. And I'm
right.
like, I'm literally like, it's sitting right like on my chest. I can't move. So Joey comes and he like strips one side and then we're able to like,
yeah,
bruise a rib.
Oh.
Yeah, that was super fun.
In hindsight is 2020, and not that there was any hindsight with that 205. That just sounds like a weird thing that happened.
Yeah,
it happens.
It does, but that's why I have Joey come out to the garage. Anytime I'm hitting anything over 200, I do have safeties now. I didn't on that rack. And so now anytime we're going over 200, I'm like, Joey, I need you to just come be in the garage. Like, I don't need you to do anything. I'll be like, hey, help. And you come help me.
Exactly. That small thing to increase your safety was 100% worth it for you that day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's always worth it. I hear too many people and they're like, oh, well, I didn't want to ask anyone for a spot. I didn't want to bother anyone. Bother them. I mean, they might not be like the best spotter in the world, but it's better than you being by yourself and being pinned. And, everyone's got their headphones in and it takes a couple minutes for someone to realize you're pinned underneath a weight or something like that. Just take the time, ask someone for a spot. You might make a new gym friend, in the process.
Even if it's just like, hey, I just need you to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I need you to do anything, but it's kind of like it's 90% or whatever.
It's worth it. It's always worth it to be safe every single time. You learn from your mistakes, right, Kim?
Oh, yeah. Or you should. If you don't, then, maybe you need the brick. I'm the sort of girl who sometimes needs a brick in the head to get it. I miss it the first few times.
Preach, girl, preach. I definitely resonate with that hard because it's like my low back stuff, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. Kim, thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation with me today.
It was my pleasure. I'll come back anytime you want.
Oh, there's been like 17 other offshoots in our conversation today I've had to reel myself in on because I'm like, oh, we could talk about that. But it's like, no, I wrote down 2 things. We're focusing on the things. Do you want to put out there, like people want to follow you? Do you want to promote anything to the listeners?
I mean, I'm Joyful Lifter, joyful_lifter on Instagram. If they want to follow, I share my lifting journey there. I know Liz and I are planning to do a charity deadlift only event sometime in 2025, a pull for Parkinson's. I have a good friend who was diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's a couple years back. She was a competitive powerlifter, and that's actually how we met, was through powerlifting. She said pulling is probably the easiest thing for someone with Parkinson's to be able to do, as far as a strength exercise. Benching was her specialty, but now that's a little bit more dangerous.
I can't wait to hear more information when that does become available, because I'll probably be there, Kim. I went to your charity meet this past September, and especially for something like Parkinson's, that's a very near and dear to my heart diagnosis. So I will definitely be there. You can put my name on the list. Are you taking any more clients for your coaching right now?
I am.
Okay.
And so I have a few right now. So I'll have limited availability on my roster, but I don't want to overextend myself. I do love coaching, and I want to be able to work with people in that capacity. And if I can help them find some of what powerlifting has given to me, then all the better.
I love that so much. Lifting in general, but definitely powerlifting is one of those things that just brings out the strength within you in so many different ways. So I know that every client you have is going to be very well coached, and I hope they recognize how wonderful of a coach that they have.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You are very welcome. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow, share, rate, and review. It helps the podcast grow and reach more people. Do you have any questions or suggestions? Email me at musclesandmalarkey@gmail.com or find me on Instagram at musclesandmalarkey. Yeehaw and yee-claw, everybody.